This week, the Prime Minister of the Bahamas addressed the world at the COP27 Global Climate Change Summit in Egypt. The very next day, a late-season storm named Nicole slammed the Bahamas, reiterating his message to world leaders. Our One Caribbean News' Deandra Hamilton reports.
I'm asking, what is it worth to you to prevent millions of climate refugees from turning into tens of millions? And then hundreds of millions, putting pressure on borders and security and political systems across the world.
Rain beginning to fall in Grand Bahama. Surge waters flooding tiny keys in the Abacos. Super high surf creating car crashing waves on West Bay Street in Nassau. The impact of a late-season storm, Nicole. As she lashed the northwestern Bahamas, Prime Minister Philip Davis on Tuesday in Egypt reminded world leaders while at COP27 of the threat that climate change poses to his country. Tropical storm Nicole made landfall in the northwestern Bahamas on Wednesday morning, dumping heavy rain, bringing with her whipping winds. And on the front line, Abaco, still recovering from 2019's Hurricane Dorian. Videos and photos of the weather event shared with our news team exposed how homes, settlements, and streets were inundated with ocean water. Significant flooding now caused by what was, at the time, Tropical Storm Nicole. In speaking with Press Secretary Clint Watson on Wednesday, Prime Minister Davis said events like this one highlight the need for action by world leaders.
That's why our voices have to be heard, and at events such as these, so they have the reality of what's happening. And that's why I have to call on the world to get real about ensuring that loss and damage has to be compensated for.
Davis also noted that his number one priority once he returns home to the Bahamas will be to complete a damage assessment.
The first priority is to assess, get an update on what's going on and address the normalization of what has been disrupted by this hurricane.
Deandra Hamilton reporting.
All right, thanks so much for that report, Deandra. And after slamming the Bahamas, Nicole made its way to Florida, making it the first November hurricane to hit Florida in 37 years. Now, it was only a Category 1, but following Hurricane Ian's devastation 6 weeks ago, it didn't take much for Nicole to devastate some coastal communities. Christian Bienvenides has the latest from Florida.
Devastation along Florida's Atlantic coast.
This is going to change the landscape of our community.
Hurricane Ian destroyed the seawalls and dunes in Daytona Beach shores, leaving no protection from Nicole.
The worst has come true.
Director of Public Safety Mike Fowler says the worst of the property damage may be yet to come.
We currently have approximately 20 high-rise properties that have been deemed to be unsafe. We may have structural collapse of a major building.
Residents are wondering what the recovery will look like and if it will be enough.
You do everything you can to be safe, but you can't control the hurricane. You can't control the wind. You can't control the water.
Mark Sink moved into this building in January.
Will I come back? I mean, are they going to condemn it? I'm not sure. It looks bad.
This is the back part of Zing's condo. It used to be a deck. Right next door is this beach safety office, which is literally collapsing into the ocean.
Pool decks, washers and dryers, bedding, sofas, all in the Atlantic Ocean.
Sheriff's deputies went house to house, marking them with a red X after ensuring no residents were still inside.
Less than 24 hours, we've evacuated over 600 folks from condos that had been declared structurally unsafe.
Officials don't know when or if residents will be able to move back into their homes.
And that was Christian Bienvenides reporting there. Well, switching gears now, just days after the midterm elections, politicians, community leaders, and private sector businesses from New York came to Puerto Rico for the 35th annual Sumos Conference to celebrate Latino heritage and bridge the gap between the island and the mainland United States. Our Marisol Rivera reports.
Congresswoman Velazquez is back in her hometown of Puerto Rico at the Sumos Convention that brings together people from both the public and private sector to attend the issues of Puerto Rico and much more.
Well, as a Puerto Rican woman who was born and raised in Puerto Rico, it's a matter of pride to see how many people from New York comes to this event. It sends two messages. the bond that exists between the Puerto Rican community and Latino community in New York and in Puerto Rico. It's that bridge that brings people both ways, and it shows their concerns and their commitment toward the betterment of the people of Puerto Rico, who have gone through so much, from earthquake, hurricanes, fiscal crisis, and it's a great opportunity for legislators who could become Puerto Rico's lobbyists in the government, to go back and be able to do advocacy on behalf of American citizens on the island of Puerto Rico.
She talks to us about the importance of having recently elected Kathy Hochul in the island.
Well, it's a statement from the governor that recognizes that she got re-elected because of the strong support from minorities, communities in the state of New York that basically represent the base of the Democratic Party. And so Governor Hochul is here to say that she really appreciated the fact that people came out, that we worked hard to get re-elected, and to make history as the first female governor of the state of New York.
Reporting from Carolina, Puerto Rico, this is Maricel Rivera.
All right, thanks so much, Marisol. Meantime, we do have continuing coverage of Tuesday's election in the U.S. Virgin Islands, with Governor Albert Bryan Jr. and Lieutenant Governor Trinzenga Roach winning their bid for re-election. Our One Caribbean News' Emily Matson actually spoke with Governor Albert Bryan Jr. about his win and how he plans to move the U.S. Virgin Islands forward and in the right direction.
First of all, congratulations on your win. What do you credit your re-election to?
I really credit the election to, first of all, the hard work that we have done over the last 4 years. But we just have some supporters that are just so energetic and creative. I think they're more sad than anyone that the election is over, because now they don't have 200 campaign events to go to over the next couple of months.
What are some of your key plans for the next 4 years?
Well, I think, first and foremost on my priorities to get the GFL temporary hospital open, and then we really have to fix the electrical system. Healthcare is huge for us. I think the recovery is going well. We just got projects that keep cranking out. We're going to definitely have some capacity problems in terms of manpower, but getting people cheap power is going to help our economy tremendously, and it's going to help with the sustainability of the new Virgin Islands we're building. Well, Cinque, end to end, we've done tremendous development into the infrastructure, and then on top of that, we worked really hard in getting the refinery back open. That's about to come open again, and then tripling the amount of cruise ship tourists we're going to have this year, from 40,000 to like 140,000 tourists. All of that is important in us trying to make Cinque the new center of economic development in the Virgin Islands. I mean, they have the most space, the most resources, but we just haven't been able to get that ship sailing quite right. So we're off to a good start now again with the construction and the tourism, but I'm expecting the refinery to come out and a lot more new hotel rooms and attractions for people to enjoy. I've studied this government for over 30 years, and I'm a real nerd about it in terms of creating good policy that has really structural change throughout the government. So you could pave a road or build a building, but when you have good policy that drives economic change, that helps you with the taxes, that allows for home ownership, that fixes the power in the utility system, those are the kind of things that are going to be legacy things. I mean, it's 4 years, but if I could do anything, I would fix our education system so we're producing the really more and more top-notch students and putting them into the global marketplace.
So while campaigning, I'm sure you heard a lot from your constituents. Is there any, disappointments from your first term or anything that you want to improve upon over the next 4 years?
Yeah, we did a really lousy job of getting people out of those blue roofs in the first 4 years. And we really got to do a lot of work with the Housing Finance Authority. I mean, it's not directly under me. It's run by a board, but I get blamed for everything, and I take responsibility for a lot. So we want to really get that up and get that done. That's 400 people that we're completely rebuilding their homes. So it's a massive, massive undertaking, but we got to do better. I just really want to thank the voters out there that gave me the vote of confidence. I mean, it's really rough when it's like the majority of the votes come from your employees. So it's like being CEO of a company And then after 4 years, they vote on whether they're going to keep you or not. So much appreciation to the Virgin Islands public for really supporting Tregenza and I in this for this next 4 years. You're going to be blown away with what we're going to do.